we need to talk. There's something extremely worrying that I'm seeing in crypto right now, and it's not in the charts, it's not even in the crypto news, but it's in the Telegram chats, it's in the comment sections, and I think it's going to cost you bigger than anything out there right now, especially at a time that is so prime in the crypto markets right now. A decision that you take today, whether you buy or sell a specific coin, will have an impact in your life over the next 5 to 10 years. Now guys, this is an incredibly important video. I'm going to keep it short, so hit the like button. Let's find out what the F I'm talking about. Now, obviously, we're outside again, because obviously the markets on a weekend are a little bit quieter, and I just have a really important message. Now, obviously, lots of people have taken some losses in crypto recently, some bigger than others. And that's mainly because of the fact that we went sideways for 5 to 6 months, and then on Monday, Japan nearly had an economic meltdown. This meant that the markets have been smashed towards the downside, and unsurprisingly, we sat there in a bit of fear. And it is this and this alone that is causing many people to do some extremely stupid things at a time when the markets are absolutely primed. The institutions have been buying this recent dip. The CEO of the Fed in Boston has already said that the figures that they're expecting means that they're going to have to start printing more money soon. According to this tweet from Chris Bernice, he's talking about global banks now being forced into quantitative easing, which is, again, money printing. And Arthur Hayes now talking about the US Treasury now pumping $300 billion back into the US economy, which is expected to rise to over $1 trillion by the end of this year. Now, all these things are lining up to an explosive bull market that is just around the corner. But here's the issue. Right now, many of us have taken big L's on some of the coins that we've invested in. And what we're doing is acting from fear. Now, let me give you a little example. If you've ever been to the casino before, then maybe you've done this thing that I've definitely done. You've gone and played a bit of roulette or blackjack or whatever you like, okay? You've taken out £50 or $50 or whatever it is, and you've gone and played a few hands and you've lost it all. Now, obviously, you're now like, well, I'm pretty annoyed about that because I came in with more money than I have now in my pocket. And if I play again, then there's a good chance that I can win that money back because I'm not going to make that money very quickly working my job. And I go back to the ATM and I cash out £100. Now I take that £100 back to the roulette table to try and win back my loss, and now all of a sudden I'm down £150 when I walked in the door at zero. And ultimately I could go back to the ATM a few times until my friend or whoever it is drags me away. Now obviously I'm not quite that degenerate, but I know that people do this, and it is basically how gambling addictions start. And here's the major problem with this and why it's associated with the crypto markets. The crypto markets, despite what you might think, are not a casino. While yes, there's obviously an element of risk and gambling involved in certain coins, you shouldn't be treating it as such. Because what I'm seeing right now is a lot of people in crypto returning to the ATM to try and get out more money or whatever, to try and win their money back as soon as possible. Now, they're not necessarily getting more money, but what they're doing is they're taking money from coins that have been performing quite strongly and steadily, like Bitcoin, and taking that money and they're rushing and putting it in even more degenerate, even more risky calls to try and make their money back as soon as possible. And they're like, well, I'll just put it in this meme coin, and if it does like a 3 or 4x, I get my money back, and then yeah, I can go back to the safer assets again. This is absolutely the worst thing that you can do right now. And a lot of people in a period of time like this will lose all of the money that they started out with at the beginning of this year. And eventually what you'll end up doing is not having enough money to be able to enjoy the bull market that is literally about to hit. So what do we have to do? Well, first of all, understand that we simply need to be patient. If you are buying coins with strong fundamentals in the right narratives that may have seen some significant downside, then in my opinion, those coins will see growth and returns. Okay, so what on earth do we do? Well, guys, if you understand what I've just told you about what is happening in the markets right now, in the fact that crypto is inextricably linked to the liquidity cycle, and liquidity is now pumping back into the market because we have to have quantitative easing, because we have to have interest rate hikes, then you'll understand that the markets will recover pretty quickly. But where we will see recovery first isn't necessarily in the smaller, more degenerate coins. Therefore, rushing to try and go into those heavily risk-on trades is very dangerous, because what you should be looking at right now, if you have spare capital, is to deploy it towards the less risk-on assets, the larger market cap coins. Right now, the Bitcoin dominance is heading to around 56-57%, and I expect it to see a rise to at least 60% before we start to see that come down. That means that the bigger market cap coins are seeing the most recovery and growth first. You probably realized that if you've paid attention to the charts over the last few weeks. So does that mean that I should be selling out of my small cap coins and moving it into big cap coins? Absolutely not. But what I've been doing this week, and I've been talking to my communities about it, is to go and look at some of the coins that we bought, even if we were having high conviction in this being strong and that being strong, and being able to identify whether or not it's seen much of a recovery. If it's been down like 90% in the last few months, and yet in the last few days it's managed to recover 50 to 100%, then I'm thinking, well, yeah, this is a coin that is showing some strength, and maybe taking some money from the coins that haven't really shown any signs of recovery and moving it across to some of those other plays. Why? Well, because there's a good chance of seeing recovery early on in those coins that are already showing recovery than perhaps in some of the coins that you're holding that aren't really showing much volume returning at all. Now, I know this is incredibly difficult and we want to go out and point the fingers and blame it on other people, and that makes us feel better. But first of all, we need to do is take ownership and realize that there's no magical solution to fixing any of these issues apart from ourselves. We got ourselves into this, and the only way to get out of it is by going and taking action. Now, this is an incredibly difficult thing to do because of something called the sunk cost fallacy. We've invested lots of money in, and maybe I've turned my 10 grand into $500, and now I don't really know what to do. I just want to bury my head in the sand and hope it goes away. So what the F do we do now? Well, ultimately, you need to identify coins that you're holding that have been showing some strength in the last few days. I appreciate that some of the coins you may be holding may be down 70%, maybe even more if you bought into the pumps back in March. But you've probably noticed that some of those coins, despite seeing significant downside, have returned up 50%, maybe even 100% gains on the prices that you saw on Monday. And those coins are showing significant strength to you right now. They're showing you that when this bull market gets running again, that you should be looking towards those coins that have strength. Therefore, what I've been doing over the last few days is taking money from those coins that I invested in that have seen significant dumps towards the downside and cutting my losses if they are not showing more than like a 5, maybe even a 10% recovery since Monday. Simply because these coins are probably not going to be able to return to strength. I have to then take it on the chin and know that basically this is crypto, and basically I made a decision to invest in something that hasn't paid off. And this is not acting from fear. Instead of taking those funds and going after more degenerate, more risky things, go and look at the coins that have been performing strongly since Monday. There are a lot. Casper, I believe, is back up 31%. I think Solana's up over 50%. We saw AIOZ being up over 60% since Monday. We've seen AudiSwap up over 100% since Monday. There are tons and tons of coins out there that have been performing strongly. This is where I've started to try and consolidate my funds towards. Why? Because the bull market is about to rage on, and it's going to go more to the risk off trades first, which is the larger market cap coins. Why? Well, we got Bitcoin dominance heading towards 60% into a huge area of resistance. There is a very good chance that the Bitcoin dominance will start to stutter and fall around that time. Bitcoin dominance will typically continue to rally into markets where the interest rates are incredibly high and there isn't much in the way of inflation. We've just seen the stats. We're about to see interest rates coming down in September. We're going to see inflation starting to go up. This means that the risk element of the market will return, but it's not going to happen all at once. Money moves from the big caps down the road towards the riskier stuff later on. So simply what we can do is we can look for our 4, 5Xs up towards Christmas time, perhaps in some of the larger market cap coins. And then once we've established bigger bags where we can go and afford to be a little bit more risky and go after some more risk assets where we will likely see the 10Xs, 20Xs that happen in simply 1 week or so on later on in the cycle. This happened in the last bull market. People who made good money early on in the Bitcoins and Ethereums then took their profits, and literally 6 months to 9 months later, they put money in Solana, which then did like 260x, into the likes of Gala Gaming, which did a 300x. But these pumps didn't even happen until a year later on than where we are in the cycle right now. Guys, simply, all we need to do right now is calm the F down. If you are acting emotionally, if you're fearful or panicked, then just walk away, go for a walk outside, calm down, come back, and then think about whether or not it's a good decision right now. Don't act impulsively. The same goes for when the market starts to rally towards the upside and you feel inclined to suddenly start aping into coins once they've already done a 3, 4x in a couple of days. And that's probably what's cost you big, because you were probably doing it back in March. Hopefully this has just grounded you a little bit more. It's the weekend. I don't expect to see anything particularly dramatic happen over the weekend. Bitcoin pretty much making a V-shaped recovery right now. I do anticipate if we can get back above 62k and hold it there, then we're looking incredibly strong for the coming few weeks up and towards September, because the interest rate cut is going to happen around the 16th of September, but you better believe that it's going to get priced into the market before that even happens. So we can't really be waiting until then. If you're looking to go and make some trades and buy some new coins and do some shopping in the markets, then I recommend you head over to Bingx Exchange, link down below in the description. Why? Because it doesn't require KYC or know your customer. Therefore, you can stay under the radar and you can access this exchange from wherever you might be. If you want to keep yourself safe while trading cryptocurrency and avoid any of the issues like people spying on your wallet transactions, and you want to retain your privacy and be able to access different exchanges that might not be available in your country from other countries, then I recommend getting yourself a NordVPN, which you can find down below in the description. It has 4 months extra for free, and then after that it's $2.50 per month, which is less than a cup of coffee, and it's an essential tool for you to be using if you're trading crypto and you want to do it safely. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, you want more grounded, calming advice, saying the hard stuff that people don't really want to talk about, then subscribe. I'll see you on Monday in another video. Bye-bye.